I'm Katie from What Katie Did, and today I'm going to be talking about the difference between our standard and our extreme corsets. First of all, I'm filming in June in England, and there is a torrential downpour going on at the moment, so if you do hear any background noise, that's what it is. Yesterday it was glorious sunshine, and today we've got torrential rain. And there's always this joke about the Brits always talking about the weather, and there is a good reason for this. If you are visiting the UK, always remember to pack both your umbrella and your sunscreen, as really you don't know what's going to happen. As far as I'm aware, we're the only company that does both a standard and an extreme version of our corset, which does confuse both you customers, our factories, and new members of our team. So I'm trying to explain it as simply as possible here, and the reasons why we do it. When you first start waist training, you're quite often your waist gets smaller very, very quickly, but your rib and your hip stay the same. Just because your waist changes doesn't mean to say any other part of your body changes. And your waist might not even change dramatically at all, but you might get used to wearing corsets, so it becomes more used to being squished, and you feel that you can downsize. Now, if you were to move to a smaller size corset, in the same style, it would mean that the rib and the hip would also be smaller, so you'd get bulges at the top and the bottom. The main aim with our extreme corsets is to give you the same style corset you're used to, but as your waist gets smaller, allows you to have that extra amount of cinch. So say, for example, you've bought a 26-inch Morticia, and you've been wearing it for a few months, and you feel that the waist could actually be smaller, but the rest of you haven't lost weight, the rest of you has remained the same. If you were going to go for a standard 24-inch Morticia, then it would be too tight on the rib and the hip, where with our extreme version, the extreme version actually still has the same measurements, rib and hip, as a 26. The waist has just been cut smaller. So this allows you to continue on your What Katie Did corset journey, and it still has the familiarity of the corset you've been wearing for several months, so it should be more comfortable and your body will be able to get used to it more quickly. I know on a lot of corset forums they advise you to have several corsets for several different occasions, and this does come in useful because it means your body doesn't get too used to one corset. And I'm guilty of, I have my favourite corset and I wear it all the time, and it really does feel like a second glove. And the issue with this is that if I do change to another style, it is not traumatic. That's overemphasizing everything, but it is like, do I really want to do this? Why can't I keep wearing my old one? And how long is my old one going to last? And it is a big decision. I want to be as comfortable as possible, and I know when I move to a different style, it's going to take my body a couple of weeks to get used to it, so I kind of put it off. But with our extreme version, we're trying to minimize the shock to your body, and making it as easy as possible for you and as comfortable as possible for you, so you still got that familiar feel. It's just that little bit tighter on the waist. Of course, you also need to take your natural body measurements into account, and it might be that your natural body measurements are more similar to our extreme style than our standard style, and in that case it's fine to go for the extreme style, because you really need to choose a corset that's closest to your measurements. And on the other hand, don't think an extreme corset is better than a standard corset, because if your measurements don't match the extreme corset closely, then it won't fit you very well. Some people are lucky in being able to wear both our standard version and our extreme version, and we put model Sugar Rush in both versions, and they both looked amazing on her. However, a couple of weeks later, when I put Velvet Jones in our extreme version, I thought it would work on her really well, but it was just gaping so much on the hip and rib that we couldn't shoot it. And in retrospect, we really should have, just to show you now how bad it was. But you put it on, and immediately you're thinking, no, this isn't right. It's just too big on the rib and the hip. And this was because her waist was either slightly bigger, or maybe she had more muscle around her waist, which meant that we couldn't cinch in tight enough so that the rib and the hip worked on her. We do have the measurements for all our corsets under the description, so please take a look at them. And also, when you look at the photographs, you'll see that we do different corsets for different body types. So if you've got a more androgynous figure, we've got one for you there, right up to the extreme vamp if you're super curvy. If you do have any questions about corsets, please get in touch with us. Otherwise, take care, and I'll catch up with you soon.